Alfred Eisenstaedt is the man behind some of the most impressive and memorable photographs of the 20th century. For almost 70 years, he spent his career as a photojournalist, working and traveling the world. He grew up as a young boy in northern Poland. Born in 1898, he was a World War I veteran serving his time in the German Army. As an immigrant to the U.S., he came into the States just as photojournalism was in its very infancy. By 1935, Eisenstaedt bought his first Rolleiflex camera and officially became an immigrant to the United States. Eisenstaedt had a wide range of equipment that he used when taking his photographs, but kept it simple. He used a variety of equipment from tripods to glass plate negatives. When it came to the subject of his photographs, many of them were musicians, writers, and renowned historical icons. One of his first photographs to be credited was in 1932, of the waiter at the ice rink of the Grand Hotel. "I did one smashing picture," Eisenstaedt told Life, "of this skating head waiter. To be sure the picture was sharp, I put a chair on the ice and asked the waiter to skate by it. I had a microflex camera and focused in on the chair." Beginning at an early age, his photographs made their way to publications in Life, Time, and Fortune magazine. His motivation was to be able to tell a story with a subject matter. He aimed to chronicle the lives of those at work, at worship, at rest, and at play, even at times of hardships. Eisenstaedt traveled down to Delta and Pine Land Plantation in Scott, Mississippi, during the height of the Great Depression. At the time, this was the world's largest staple cotton plantation. These pictures prove that the talented photojournalist had the capability to make the subjects of his pictures perfectly comfortable, unstaged, and truthful in every aspect. Eisenstaedt would say, "It's more important to click with people than to click the shutter." This was one of his most respected qualities. During the late 30s, Eisenstaedt began to work closely with the New York School of American Ballet. He worked with the dancers, photographing them and representing the studio. Eisenstaedt believed his photographs of the dancers gave others the ability to celebrate the many ways in which ballet could be seen as an art form. Princeton lecturer in dance and longtime member of the Mark Morris dance group, Tina Fellenden, told Life magazine, "It's important to not judge Eisenstaedt's photos and the dancers in them by the technical standards of today. I love looking at old photos for that very reason. You can compare and contrast." These photos were all published in Life magazine, representing just what the New York School of American Ballet stood for. The motivation behind and key to Eisenstaedt's creative eye was his humble acts of kindness and compassion. "My style hasn't changed much in all these 60 years, Eisenstaedt explains. I still use, most of the time, existing light and not try to push people around. I have to be as much a diplomat as a photographer. People often don't take me seriously because I carry so little equipment and make so little fuss. My motto has always been, keep it simple." With this picture here, his subject matter is of a woman comforting her child during Hiroshima. It's clear to see the emotion and empowering struggle in this photograph. Eisenstaedt always had an eye for capturing the emotion behind a picture. This is probably the most well-known picture by Eisenstaedt that has become a symbolic, empowering photograph of true, spontaneous, decisive moment photography. VJ Day in Times Square, New York City on August 15, 1945 gave photojournalists the prime opportunity to photograph history. This picture of the New York City kiss has been one of my favorites ever since I first saw it on the cover of a magazine. The key to this photograph is everything is precisely in place, unstaged and unruled. Eisenstaedt explains, "I saw a sailor running along the street, grabbing any and every girl in sight. I was running ahead of him with my camera. I turned around and clicked the moment the sailor kissed the nurse. People tell me that when I am in heaven they will remember this picture. For me, it is the power of a story that is told without any words but pure emotion and celebration," concluded Eisenstaedt. This, to me, is photojournalism. Time magazine declared this photograph as one of the 10 greatest images in the history of photojournalism. The photographer, skilled and professional as he was, always appeared to be seen with little to no equipment. And as a result, we have some of the most spontaneous moments to enjoy visually as we study our past history. Eisenstaedt visited the upper New York City Bay in the fall of 1950 because of the controversial and highly popular political scheme dealing with the delay of immigrants being allowed into America through Ellis Island. He photographed the thousands of lives come into America, and he reflected upon just what Ellis Island did. Another one of my favorite photographs by Eisenstaedt. The subject matter here and the composure of this photograph is so spectacular. The emotions of the children's faces are so different with each and every one of them. The use of angle and rule of thirds directly draws our attention to not only one, but all of these children, as if they are all the main center of attention. Well into the 1960s, Eisenstaedt began to photograph Hollywood icons in the comfort of their own home. Published in Life magazine, he was able to photograph Marilyn Monroe going about her daily activities in her Beverly Hills home. Marilyn was only 26 in these photographs. What I found most admirable about these images is that Eisenstaedt was able to represent a beautiful young woman, not just a Hollywood icon. Robert Andreas wrote in the 2004 book, The Great Life Photographers, Eisenstaedt would put his subjects at ease. Then get up close and take a few pictures. He didn't need a toll after a roll. 10 it was, on to the next person, the next happening, tirelessly pursuing the heart of the matter, that he saw so easily and wanted very much for us to see too. Other famous icons that he was able to photograph in the comfort of their own home included John F. Kennedy and Sophia Loren. Alfred Eisenstaedt had his first one-man exhibition in 1954 at the International Museum of Photography at George Eastman House in Rochester, New York. He had many other exhibits and was the recipient of numerous awards, among them the National Medal of the Arts, which he received from President George Bush in 1989. The photojournalist died in 1995 at the age of 96 at his home in Oak Bluffs, Martha's Vineyard.